legs? That's gnarly.
Oh. Woo.
How many you got?
How many do I have?
Yeah.
0.
Come on, man.
I've got tendonitis.
You gonna grow one?
No, I'm talking about your mustache. So my first question is, how does it feel to have a mustache?
Feels great.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers, Padre.
Yeah. You know, when you cheers, you always have to take a sip after you cheers. It's bad luck if you do a cheers and you don't drink it.
All right.
Okay?
Yeah, thanks.
I'm Mitch. I'm the dad. I love hanging out with the boys, and I love drinking Pacifico.
Yeah, you got any deep questions?
Yes, deep questions. So I was thinking this was an incredible year and all that you accomplished. And I was thinking, you know, I remember when you were little and we used to go down to San Onofre and longboard. You remember those days?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, do you remember that day? And we went down to the beach and the waves were really fun. And said, oh, we're gonna go in on the beach and build a sandcastle. So I stayed out with my buddy and you guys went in there. Remember that day?
Yeah, I remember.
And you were like, hey, come here. And
No, Preston was going.
it was Preston, yeah.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, whatever. We'll be there in a little bit. And then like 20 seconds later, he's yelling again. So I'm like, hey, John, let's go check out their sandcastle. And I'll never forget like walking out to the berm and realizing that you were buried. And the only thing I could see were your feet and your legs. Everything else was buried.
Mm-hmm.
And just thinking, oh my God, how long has he been under? I ran over there and grabbed your feet and tried to pull you out, and I couldn't get you out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, John, come here. And it took both of us to pull you out, and we barely could get you out. And when we got you out, your face was like pale white, and you were barely breathing.
Uh-huh.
That was one of the scariest days. Just like everything flashing before me and realizing like, oh my gosh, if I was still in the water and not on the beach. And that was a day where like nobody was down there.
Yeah.
That was scary. What was going on in your mind when you were buried under it, and how did that happen again?
Yeah, from my perspective, I think I was probably 6 or 7 probably. And we were making tunnels through the sand berm at Sano when there was sand there. And yeah, we had been working on it for a while, we wanted to make a tunnel so we could crawl through it. And I'm pretty sure, I think we started from the bottom in, and then we were gonna go from the top. We were going bottom in, and then we were gonna go from the top, where we should have started from the top and then went the bottom in. But so we were going bottom in, and we were getting like a pretty deep hole going, probably pretty close to being finished and being able to start from the top. And as I'm getting back there, probably like thigh high into it, and one arm goes to pull the sand out, and the other arm's like this. So I'm going to pull the sand, and like as I reach like that, the whole upper part just collapses straight on top of me, and I was like, yeah, down to my knees pretty much, and I couldn't move at all. I like tried squirming out of it, but I couldn't, and I think I just started screaming under the sand. But I don't know if my friend Preston was probably 10 or 9 or something, and I think I felt him try and like dig me out from the top. Like I felt like sand moving above my head, like him trying to like dig me out. But he was such a little kid, it wasn't doing anything. And then that's when he started waving over to you guys. Oh, come over.
And when he was waving, it just seemed like it was like, oh, come check out the sandcastle. He wasn't in a rush or a hurry.
He probably didn't realize how severe the situation was because
Right.
of how young he was.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and then you guys just kind of like meandered over there after a couple, because you didn't know.
And then we started sprinting.
Yeah, I remember I was like kicking my legs like crazy, like thinking that would help, but I was just like losing energy. And I remember like losing air. I was just like holding my breath, like losing air, and then you and John like grabbed both my legs and like yanked me out. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It happened fast. How long do you think you were buried for?
I don't know. It felt maybe like a minute and a half or something.
Yeah, it had to have been, because when he first started calling us, and by the time we got over there, it was a while.
Yeah.
That's what freaked me out too. It was like, oh my gosh, he's been calling us for the last couple of minutes, and he's been under the sand.
Yeah.
And then after that, I found out that people die every year down at the beaches by being buried.
Yeah.
And so now when I lifeguard, if I see even the smallest hole, I always stop the truck and tell them the dangers and how people die. And it's kind of important to like spread that word, because people still do that on the beach, and they do get buried. So that was crazy. Here's to living.
To live in. Oh, yep.
Always drink after a toast.
All right. Memories. What was it like when Crosby and I decided that we wanted to be pro surfers, like for you and Mom? How did you guys approach that? Because, I mean, we were pretty young at that age, so we probably don't remember as well as you do.
Well, you remember Mom pretty much whenever like she does something, she goes all in, right?
Yeah.
And so that's just her nature. And I'm kind of more like, oh, cruise, see how it goes, you know. And so we'd go to the contests and we'd have fun and win and lose. And then one day I remember we were in the bedroom and you guys were downstairs playing, and she kind of like, hey, I need to talk to you. I'm like, oh, what's going on? And she's like, if we're gonna do this, we're going all in. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, no, we're going all in. We're not only gonna like, you know, go to the beach every day like we were doing and surf, but we're gonna hire a coach, which was Dave Latinsky, who was more of an uncle, but and we're gonna start doing training, and we got to get film, and so, I mean, that was kind of the turning point. Like, wow, this is it. We're all in, and it felt good because like, and then remember, Mom would scold you guys like if you weren't going all in.
Yeah. Maybe
you'd fool around at the beach, or you weren't. What were some things that she was pushing you? Like, how did she push you to help you? Because, you know, that's always a story. Like, mom was the one that was the real push behind it.
I think I remember her using like other competitors, saying how good like the other kids my age were, and or how they were better than me, and that she would just tell me that, you know, just kind of give me the hard truths.
She's still doing it.
Yeah. But I think it like motivated me. I don't know. She was good. I think she was really good at using reverse psychology. It seemed like, and kind of saying like she doesn't think we could do it and stuff, and then us going, oh yeah, I'll show you, kind of thing. But then you're on the other side to like balance that out by like being like full, just, oh, you're the best, like you're amazing, like everything's great that you do. Like, I don't know, the balance of that was like really helpful.
It's kind of the yin yang, right? How it all, you have to have the
full yin yang.
You have to have positive, negative. You got to have good and bad, and I mean, I have no regrets. I enjoyed it all. You know, I always knew that you guys were going to grow up and move out and move on to your career, but all those years, all those weekends, every day after school, I always knew like I'm going to really enjoy this, because even though we were working hard and dedicated, it was so much fun to be with you guys and all your friends and surf every day.
Yeah.
You know? And what was funny, I remember sometimes going down to T Street after school, and the waves would be like 1 foot and crappy, and you guys would be like, nah, we're not going to go out. And, you know, it was like, remember what Dave Latinsky used to say? 7 days without surfing makes 1 week.
Oh yeah.
Right? And so like I was like, you're not going to surf? Well, I'm going out.
Yeah.
And leave you guys in the car. And next thing you know, you guys would come down and we'd all surf.
Yeah.
1 foot junk.
Totally.
Because that's always what the finals were on the weekend, right? Usually blown out 1 foot.
Yeah, I remember seeing like the Gdauskas brothers run out too when it was super bad, and you'd be like, look, they're running out, like you got to get out there. What about when you were filming us? Like, because I come to find out later you didn't really like filming.
You know what's funny is I have no regrets, and I loved it all. But if I could change one thing, do one thing different, that would probably be if I could have afforded to hire a filmer.
Yeah.
So I could have been out there surfing with you guys on all those amazing days.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved being on the beach filming. I did, especially getting the clips. But you know me, I'd way rather be in the water.
Yeah.
So I tell dads sometimes, if you can afford, to pay someone $50 a session, do it, because you don't want to miss out on all those good swells.
Yeah, for sure.
But again, like I was all in, right?
Yeah.
And I could tell that was helping, because coming home and you guys would break it down, and like it was such an important part to the whole thing.
Yeah. What about like the difference between Crosby and I when we were little? What would you say?
Yeah, well, you guys are so different, because back then when he was little, he wasn't as motivated, right? And he was just kind of cruisy. And remember some of the things. You remember how we would try and get him to surf, and he'd want to stay in the neighborhood?
Yeah.
How did you actually? You were the one, I think, that motivated him to finally come and surf. But what did you say to him about getting him to go surf?
I think I just used mom's tactics on Crosby. I remember seeing Crosby wanted to stay and play in the street that one day, and I just started calling him a street dweller, and that Nick Marshall is way better surfer than him, and just other kids that he competed against were just like way better than him.
What about now? What is it like with Crosby now? Obviously, you don't have to push him anymore. Like, how's your relationship with Crosby now compared to when you guys were younger?
Now it doesn't even feel like there's an age gap between us.
Oh.
Which is crazy. Like, I mean, I've always felt like the older brother, but now it kind of feels like we're just the same age, and I learned from him. Like, seems to be really responsible with some little things in life that I might let go through the cracks. I feel like I've been like a little bit enabled, so
just a little bit.
Where Crosby like never really got that as much. So Crosby's more responsible than me, so he's teaching me that now.
That's nice, because I mean, again, you guys complement each other, right? Because you push him in a lot of ways, and he's pushing you in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about year 2? You just came out. You just finished year 1. I watched that edit. Super sick. How are you feeling for year 2 with Crosby on tour?
Feeling super excited. Yeah, I mean, after doing the trip to Fiji and then going to Indo, I feel like we both did the best surfing of our life. So I'm excited to like bring that to the tour and just have like that confidence that we can feed off of each other and know that we're like putting in the extra effort to go on surf trips and still be improving our surfing.
Here's to year 2.
Year 2. Cheers.
Year 2 is going to be insane.
All right. Year 2.
Good job, you guys.
Always take a swag.
Thank you. There you go.